What's his face? Two things I'd love to say about that is one, Jung said that when he traveled to Africa and spoke to the locals, Jung's actually quite a boyo. Like he used to rock down to Africa and hang out with the tribes and talk to them about dreams and stuff like that. And they said that they always used to look at him and be like, "What the fuck is this guy? Like some German with a pipe talking about dreams and asking them why they worship the sun." But he said that the Africans, because they didn't have a sophisticated monotheism at that point, they were still in paganism essentially. What's so funny is Europe's going back to that now, but starting to go back to that now. But anyway, the Africans were engaging in that, and what they do, Jung said, was they would project these internal figures, these internal psychic realities onto the patterns that were happening in the world. So when the self would come up, the deep image of themselves, they'd see it in the sun, and so that's why they'd worship the sun. And it was literally instinctive, it was almost unquestioned. And in the lion they would see their anger, you know, they would see the character of the lazy guy who's a super big juicy alpha male and doesn't really have to work as much as everyone else. And in the woman they would see desire for life and all that. And so it was very, very basic, and they would worship the goddess in her and stuff like that. And it was very, very the environment and the person was very much not separate. And what Jung noticed is that these guys are actually incredibly psychically healthy. What's so crazy is that these people, because they had integrated all of this stuff properly, they were incredibly in tune and incredibly sharp, and just they were, oh, like everything was all right in that type of sense. But they didn't have that extra step, which was advanced institutions that were rationalizing, and so they couldn't build advanced civilizations and institutions and whatnot. But the consequence of building advanced civilizations is that you have to pull yourself out of that unconsciousness, and you can become divorced from those instincts. You can almost ignore them, and so then they start to like fuck with you. And that's exactly what goes on in the modern world, is you have all these instincts that are boiling underneath you, and you start reading about the rational, the logos of the conspiracy theory, and then the instinct leaps out and grabs onto it. You know, the Aries does, and says they're out to get us. We got to do that. Or another really good example is the the red pill stuff. So you've got women, and then you might get dumped, and you read the red pill stuff, and it says all women are hypergamous. All women go for the best man. All women are evil. And then your resentment towards getting dumped jumps out and grabs onto it, and you start firing that negative energy onto women, being like, they're such horrible bitches, never trust them at all. And you never obviously read Nietzsche's idea that like the problem with modern men and modern women is that there's no man enough to bring the woman out of woman. And it's that type of idea of, it's because we've got divorced from our deep instincts, because they're no longer attached to our environments. Our environments are quite abstract now. It's the onus is actually on us to bring those instincts to life, bring those instincts to consciousness, and then they will start to help us, or at the very least stop being in our way. We can adapt them to reality a lot better and remove the projection side of it and make it a lot more integrated, as he describes. Fascinating stuff.